Now to the Bitcoin, Solana and Shiba Inu price, ladies and gentlemen. Will the Bitcoin price head toward $40,000 in the coming weeks, and will we see a market reversal after that? Or will this market reversal happen soon? Let us start with the Bitcoin price. After that, we will discuss new positions, and we will also discuss a few economic events that will soon affect the price. In the last videos, we discussed that we have a flag formation here, and as you can see, the Bitcoin price has reached our first price target. Now it is in a sideways movement, and the question arises, will the Bitcoin price continue towards $40,000 to $45,000, or will we see a rise soon, perhaps towards 72,000, maybe even a bit higher? I will explain to you in detail how the Bitcoin price will move. I will first show you the economic data so you can understand why the Bitcoin price is moving this way at all. We discussed in the last videos that the inflation figures will have a very strong impact on the Fed decision. Why? Because the Fed wants to see interest rates in the 2% range. Yesterday, the inflation figures were released. Inflation is at 4.2%, so it is not at the 2% level. That is already negative. Plus, it is negative that yesterday the Fed, not the Fed, but the European Union raised interest rates. So that is a negative sign. The unemployment rate was also important. The figures came out on June 5th and the Bitcoin price went down. The unemployment rate remains stable. So for the Fed to lower interest rates, it would be better if unemployment went up and the inflation figure should ideally go down. If the Fed were to raise interest rates, then that will be a very negative event for the cryptocurrency market. However, I assume that they will keep interest rates stable for now because the issue between America and Iran is still there. But I hope that this issue will be resolved soon and then inflation will slowly go down, because then, for example, oil prices would continue to fall, but that will take time. So it will not happen overnight. That is the theory of how a flag formation works. The price goes down, forms the flag, and then the price goes down again. This is an example of the triangle formation. I will show you in a moment how the triangle formation works, because this yellow triangle formation from the month of January is still playing a role, and this formation is connected to 40 to 45,000 in the Bitcoin price. What I would like to remind you of again here were the yellow and blue lines. Those were the support zones. We discussed that we have a support zone between 70,000 and 55,000. Between 55,000 and 45,000, we have no support zone. So you can see there is a gap between these zones, so between $55,000 and $45,000. So the support zone here is not that strong. What does that mean? It means if the Bitcoin price continues to fall and if the Bitcoin price breaks through these $55,000, then it will land here very quickly, and that is where the price targets from this yellow formation come into play. We had the triangle formation here back then. We discussed it. The first price target was reached. Here you can see that the first price target from this flag was also reached, but the second price target from this triangle formation has not yet been reached. And that was in the range of 45,000 to 40. Don't get me wrong. So it can of course happen that the price never reaches these targets, but nonetheless one should keep an eye on them because we are not far from $55,000. I will show you exactly how the price will move in a moment. So I assume that we might see further sideways movement. It could well happen that this sideways movement lasts until early August, maybe until the end of July, while we are in this area here, because here we have the resistance zone, which lies between $68,000 and $71,000, and we have the support zone here. So this is a potential consolidation point. But if this level here is broken, the 55,000, then the price will land here very quickly, because as you can remember, there is no support zone here. Therefore, keep an eye on the 55,000. So I do not think that this is the best point now where you can say, okay, the price is now heading towards $100,000. The best scenario would be for the price to break through these blue lines. Then we could officially say that the downward trend has ended. You can perhaps see it here. The price went down from the blue line, then it broke through it, and then we saw a trend reversal. So the price went up. Currently, we have not yet seen a breakthrough of these blue lines. That will happen at some point. It will either happen here, or if the price continues to go down, it will happen here. Then it will be sometime in October. If the price should continue to go down, because the next support zone would be in the 30,000 range, then it will be at the end of the year that the price breaks through these blue lines. So the probability of a further correction is definitely there, and it is not small. What is currently happening with the Solana price, in the last videos we discussed that we have a flag formation here. You can also see a triangle formation here. The downside price targets are identical. Regardless of whether you see the flag formation or the triangle formation, the first price target is in the $48 range and the second price target is in the $27 range. The Solana price will likely only see $27 if the Bitcoin price heads toward $40,000 to $45,000. So these green lines are benchmarks for you, so you can roughly track where the Solana price will stop if the Bitcoin price goes into another correction. So let's assume the Bitcoin price heads toward 50,000, then the Solana price will stop here. I have adjusted these lines a bit because we saw $60,000 again during the Solana price correction. That is why these lines could be made much more precise. Pay attention to these lines. Regarding the short-term perspective, if the Bitcoin price goes up to these red lines and a sideways movement occurs, then the Solana price will also see a sideways movement here in the near future. The first price target for Shiba Inu has now been reached. The second price target has not been reached yet, but this target might be far too low or far too high. I would follow the Bitcoin price. So it is best to follow these green lines. These are potential reversal points for the Bitcoin price. If the Bitcoin price heads towards $55,000, then the Shiba Inu price will the Shiba Inu price will stall. If the Bitcoin price heads toward $45,000, then the Shiba Inu price will stall here. So these are benchmarks for you where the Shiba Inu price could reverse in case the Bitcoin price corrects. As I have explained to you several times, I do not assume that the Shiba Inu price will correct very strongly. It will correct during a further correction of the Bitcoin price. In principle, we have already seen this correction with you now. But I am not talking about a very, very sharp correction now. We have already seen that sharp correction with Shiba Inu. It has already fallen very sharply. The situation looks exactly the same for other cryptocurrencies as it does for Shiba Inu. So 95% of the coins or 90% have already dropped very sharply. That is why we are now talking about a small correction. This correction has basically already happened. Now the question arises, if the Bitcoin price corrects, how far the Shiba Inu price will go. But I have already explained to you where the Shiba Inu price will stop. So be a little careful in the coming weeks. So the probability of a further correction is definitely still there. I repeat what is important. The Federal Reserve decision is important. It is on June 17th. If the Federal Reserve were to raise interest rates, that would be a negative scenario. But if the Federal Reserve keeps interest rates stable, then that would be a neutral result. But keep in mind, watch the $55,000 mark. That is the current support zone for the Bitcoin price and these red lines. So if we should see sideways movement from these red lines that I showed you for the Bitcoin price, another correction could occur. And if the consolidation continues sideways, then that will take until about mid-July. So until mid-July, we could see a sideways movement. Be very careful in the coming days.